A chill, deeper than any winter wind, settled over the condemned apartment building. Fog, thick as cotton, clung to the crumbling facade, obscuring its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the abyss. For years, it had stood silent, a decaying monument to forgotten lives and whispered tragedies. Now, it was a beacon, drawing the curious and the courageous, or perhaps the foolish, to its haunted heart. Whispers of the unexplainable, the terrifying, had escaped its walls, reaching the ears of those who dared to believe in the impossible. Reports detailed unsettling occurrences, whispers carried on unseen winds, objects moving on their own accord, a pervasive sense of dread that clung to the very air. At first, dismissed as urban legends, the sheer volume and consistency of the accounts demanded attention. Something was happening within those decaying walls, something that defied logic and challenged the very fabric of reality. Word spread through hushed channels amongst those who dedicated their lives to understanding the unseen. Paranormal researchers, seasoned skeptics, and wide-eyed believers alike, all drawn by the promise or the threat of genuine supernatural activity. The building became a focal point, a nexus of unexplained phenomena. What began as isolated incidents had rapidly spiraled into a crescendo of paranormal chaos, making it one of the most well-documented cases in recent history. The reports painted a picture of escalating terror, of an entity or entities growing bolder, stronger, their presence becoming increasingly tangible. Electronic devices flickered and died, cold spots materialized without explanation, and disembodied voices echoed through the empty halls. It was a symphony of the macabre, conducted by unseen hands. A team of paranormal investigators, armed with cutting-edge technology and a shared thirst for the unknown, arrived, their faces a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. They knew the risks, the potential for psychological trauma, even physical harm. But the allure of the inexplicable, the chance to glimpse beyond the veil, was too strong to resist. Their mission, to unravel the mystery of the condemned apartment building, to document the phenomena, and, if possible, to understand its origins. They were about to step into a nightmare, a realm where the laws of physics were mere suggestions and the shadows held secrets that would forever haunt their waking hours. The initial sweep of the building was unnerving. A heavy, oppressive atmosphere hung in the air, a palpable sense of wrongness that prickled the skin and quickened the pulse. The temperature fluctuated wildly, plunging into frigid depths in certain areas, only to soar back up moments later. Electromagnetic field detectors went haywire, their needles spinning erratically, indicating massive energy surges with no discernible source. The silence, broken only by the creaking of the decaying structure and the rhythmic dripping of water, was deafening, amplifying every sound, every whisper, every imagined footstep. Days turned into nights as the team meticulously documented every anomaly. Temperature sensors registered inexplicable cold spots, often accompanied by a faint sulfurous odor. EMF readers detected spikes of energy that pulsed with a disturbing rhythm. Audio recorders captured whispers in unknown languages, guttural sounds that seemed to claw their way from the depths of the earth. Video cameras documented shadows that danced and writhed, taking on fleeting, almost recognizable forms before dissolving back into the darkness. One night, while reviewing audio recordings, Dr. Eleanor Vance, the team's lead researcher, stumbled upon something truly chilling. Amidst the static and the whispers, she heard a child's faint crying, a sound filled with unbearable sorrow and a desperate plea for help. The sound seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, resonating deep within her bones. The team's investigation took a dramatic turn when they discovered a tarnished, ornate metal hidden beneath a loose floorboard in what was once the building's central apartment. The metal was cold to the touch, yet seemed to radiate an unnatural heat. Its surface was covered in strange symbols, indecipherable runes that seemed to shift and change as you looked at them. As they handled the metal, a wave of nausea washed over them, followed by a crushing sense of dread. The electromagnetic field reading spiked even higher, and the temperature in the room plummeted to near freezing. The air crackled with an unseen energy, making their hair stand on end. Something about this object was deeply wrong, profoundly unsettling. It was as if they had disturbed something ancient, something powerful, something that did not want to be found. From that moment forward, the paranormal activity intensified exponentially. Lights flickered violently, plunging the building into moments of terrifying darkness. Doors slammed shut with deafening force, trapping team members in isolated rooms. Whispers became clearer, more insistent, weaving themselves into coherent phrases, taunting, threatening, promising unimaginable horrors. The team members began to experience vivid nightmares, plagued by visions of shadowy figures and a suffocating sense of impending doom. Some reported feeling a constant, unseen presence watching them, their every move scrutinized by malevolent eyes. The crying sounds grew louder, more desperate, accompanied by a second, equally chilling sound, a low, guttural growl that seemed to vibrate the very foundations of the building. The two entities, the crying child and the growling presence, began to manifest more frequently, their appearances becoming increasingly vivid and terrifying. Researchers captured images of shadowy figures lurking in the periphery, their faces obscured by darkness, their eyes burning with malevolent intent. The entities seemed to interact with each other, their movements synchronized, their intentions unclear. Were they trapped within the building, reliving some ancient tragedy? Or were they something else entirely, something far more sinister? The psychological toll on the research team was immense. Sleep deprivation, constant fear, and the overwhelming sense of dread began to erode their sanity. One by one, team members succumbed to the pressure, plagued by paranoia, anxiety, and a growing sense of hopelessness. Dr. Vance, despite her initial skepticism, found herself increasingly drawn to the tarnished metal, convinced that it held the key to understanding the building's mysteries. She began to hear whispers emanating from the object, whispers that spoke of pain, loss, and a desperate desire for release. She became obsessed with deciphering the runes, convinced that they contained the answer to unlocking the building's secrets. After months of relentless investigation, Dr. Vance presented her findings. The condemned apartment building, she concluded, was not merely haunted, but a thin place, a location where the veil between worlds had worn dangerously thin. The entities were not ghosts in the traditional sense, but something far more ancient and powerful, beings that existed outside the realm of human comprehension. The tarnished metal, she believed, was an anchor, a focal point that kept the veil weak, allowing the entities to manifest. Its origins were unknown, but its purpose was clear: to maintain the connection between worlds, to allow something malevolent to seep into our reality. The team, shaken by Dr. Vance's theory and overwhelmed by the escalating paranormal activity, voted to abandon the investigation. But Dr. Vance Driven by her obsession with the metal and her desperate desire to understand the entities, refused to leave. She believed that she was on the verge of a breakthrough, that she could somehow find a way to close the veil, to banish the entities back to their own realm. She remained alone in the condemned apartment building, determined to unravel its mysteries, even if it cost her everything. Weeks later, a new team of investigators arrived at the condemned apartment building. They found the building eerily silent, the oppressive atmosphere even heavier than before. They searched for Dr. Vance, but she was nowhere to be found. In the central apartment, they discovered the tarnished metal lying on the floor, its surface gleaming faintly in the dim light. As they reached for it, a whisper echoed through the room, a voice filled with chilling triumph. She is ours now. The entities remained. The veil remained thin, and the mystery of the condemned apartment building remained unsolved. A chilling testament to the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of our perception.